There were 4 chaplains aboard the Ss Dorchester, a coastal passenger ship used to transport troops during the Second World War. While they were all from different backgrounds of faith, they were united by their faith-filled life and love of country. As Father Washington, Chaplain Poling, Rabbi Good, and Chaplain Fox boarded the Dorchester, they became great friends and leaders aboard the ship. They boarded the passenger ship as 4 men eager to serve their country and bring faith and peace to their fellow man. And even when disaster struck, their mission remained the same.
Father John P. Washington was born in Newark, New Jersey, and from a young age felt called into the priesthood. While in seminary, Washington served as a deacon until becoming a priest at age 27. But then, on Sunday, December 7, 1941, Father Washington felt a new calling, to enlist in the United States military. When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, Washington received permission from his pastor and bishop to follow his calling of service to his country and apply for the United States Navy. Washington's eyesight in one eye, however, was too poor for service in the Navy, and they disqualified him from service. But Washington felt so strongly called into the forces that he applied for the Army, covering his good eye twice when reading the chart, solidifying himself as a father in the Army.
Chaplain Clark V. Poling, born in Columbus, Ohio, was the son of an evangelical minister in 1884. He grew up a pastor's son, an excellent high school football player, but his calling was towards something far greater. After graduating from higher education, he became a pastor of the First Reformed Church in New York. He halted his time as a New York pastor when the Second World War broke out in 1941. Immediately volunteering for service as a chaplain for the Army, he followed the lead of his father, who felt the same call upon his life during World War I.
Rabbi Alexander Good was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1911. He followed in his father's footsteps and became a rabbi. Before he was commissioned in 1942, he had already earned his Ph.D. and was married with a young daughter. Good was concerned about Hitler from the beginning. He feared the consequences that German Jews would face if Hitler's ideology took hold in Germany. He tried to join the Navy in 1941, but was told he was not needed. Following the events of Pearl Harbor, he was accepted by the Army. After completing Army chaplain school, Good was commissioned into the United States Army and requested that he be sent to combat quickly.
Chaplain George L. Fox was born in Louisville, Pennsylvania in 1900. Unlike his fellow chaplains, Fox joined the United States Army at the age of 17 after running away from home and became a medical orderly in World War I. His heroic actions in World War I earned Fox the Silver Star. Following the First World War, Fox studied at the Moody Bible Institute and Wesleyan University, where he found his calling to be an itinerant preacher. In 1934, Fox became an ordained minister and served at a church in Virginia, where he would remain with his family until he enlisted in the Second World War. Joining the Army again in 1942, Reverend Fox understood that the Japanese attack at Pearl Harbor would lead to the United States' involvement in the war. Based on his past experience in the Army, Fox understood his duty to his country and again enlisted, only this time he was both of legal age and an Army chaplain.
These 4 men were known for their astounding character and heroic actions during their service, and in November of 1942, they gathered together. These 4 chaplains all became friends aboard the Ss Dorchester, as they all worked tirelessly to serve the 904 men aboard the ship with them. Washington, Fox, Good, and Poling embraced their interfaith relationships and worked alongside one another to boost morale among their troops Through shared humor, song, and prayer, they held religious services for men of all faiths during their time aboard, and were men admired by the young soldiers.
On February 3, 1943, the SS Dorchester was torpedoed by a German U-boat only 100 miles from its final destination. Chaos ensued. Because they were so close to their final destination, the soldiers were unprepared for the attack, and many of them did not have their life preservers. The 4 chaplains immediately began to help their fellow passengers. They handed out life jackets and assisted men as they slid down ropes into the frigid waters. Many soldiers tried to convince the chaplains to abandon ship with the rest of them, but the chaplains were determined to aid as many men as they could. To the very end, each chaplain was a beacon of peace to other soldiers. As the ship went down, the chaplains gathered together and united in prayer. While of different backgrounds, they were selfless men who saw only their common humanity and Judeo-Christian values and not their differences.
February 3, 1943, will forever remind America of the power of the Judeo-Christian tradition. The union between Washington, Good, Fox, and Pauling, and their sacrificial service to their country, brought a wave of heroic remembrance. In 1944, each of the 4 men were posthumously awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, which is considered only second to the Medal of Honor, and were gifted the Purple Heart and Congressional Medal of Heroism in 1960. In 1948, the U.S. Department of Treasury issued a 3-cent stamp which depicted the 4 chaplains amongst the sinking Ss Dorchester. And February 3rd became marked as 4 Chaplains Day and was passed by Congress in 1988.
In 1961, the 4 chaplains were awarded a special medal for their heroism, the 4 Chaplains Medal, which was never given before and will never be given again. The faces of these 4 men in their act of service to their country forever lies in the stained glass windows located all across the nation. The National Cathedral in the War Memorial Chapel in Washington, D.C., the Memorial Chapel at the United States Army War College, and the chapel within the Pentagon all depict images of the 4 chaplains, forever remembered for their selfless service to faith and to country. It was their courage and commitment to serve something greater than themselves that propelled Washington, Good, Fox, and Pauling into a heroic national view, exemplifying the prominence of the Judeo-Christian faith in America.
World War II brought fear upon the American people. The attack at Pearl Harbor made their fears come to life. Tri-Faith America emerged as an attempt to establish, encourage, and unite interfaith relationships, specifically among the Catholic, Protestant, and Jewish communities. As Good, Washington, Fox, and Pauling gave their lives on the Ss Dorchester, they set aside their differences and were instead united by their common identity and faithful spirit in order to help their fellow men.
It was their shared belief and trust in their Heavenly Father that united the 4 immortal chaplains. One survivor would tell his story of the night that the Dorchester sank, stating,
"When giving their life jackets, Rabbi Good did not call out for a Jew, Father Washington did not call out for a Catholic, nor did Fox or Pauling call out for a Protestant. They simply gave their life jackets to the next man in line. It was the finest thing I have seen or hope to see this side of heaven."
The Judeo-Christian faith did not only unite the 4 chaplains, but would be the unifying force for the American people at war. Chaplain Good, Washington, Fox, and Pauling never wished for infamy or praise, but only prayed that their faithful influence would bring comfort and harmony to their fellow countrymen on that cold February night.